All right, we're going to start.
I was the latter.
Welcome everyone to the public meeting on Victoria and Esquimalt Police Board. We are first up on the agenda. We'll have a presentation, but before I go there, on behalf of the board, I just want to say that this will be Deputy Chief Watson's last meeting with us. He's going on to bigger and better things in Abbotsford as chief. And we're extremely proud that we could have been part of your growth, so to speak, because I have seen from Inspector Watson out in Esquimalt as head of the Esquimalt Division, moved up to Deputy Chief and doing great work, and now moving to Chief. And so on behalf of the board, we want to thank you for your service here. Don't forget us, and we wish you all the best in Abbotsford. Do you want to say a couple of words, or?
Well, thank you, Mayor. Those are very, very kind words. And obviously, I'm excited moving on to a new challenge, but also sad to be leaving here. I've been associated with this organization for a very, very, very long time, and it's near and dear to my heart. And so I've got a lot of good friends and a lot of excellent colleagues, but you're in good hands with the leadership team that you have, and I'm looking forward to watching what happens here from just a different seat. So thank you for everything.
All right, thank you. We do have one member of the board online, Holly Courtright. So just for those who are out in the audience to know that she's here. And we're very pleased to have union representation in the room sitting in. So I don't know whether you want to introduce yourselves. That would be great.
Sure, I'm Hollingsworth. I'm the president of the Victoria Police Union.
And Angela Van Eert, and I'm currently secretary, but will be taking over president in January.
Thank you. We're very pleased to have you in the room, so that's wonderful. All right, we'll move on, and we do have a presentation today from the Greater Victoria Police Diversity Advisory Committee. Sergeant Ames.
I'll maybe go to the other side of the room so the fewest number of people have to crane around, see me. I thought I would give you a short update on a couple of kind of key things going on with the VAC right now. I would say the biggest, oh no, it's all good. Yeah, thank you. I'll steal the one next to when I'm done now. The biggest thing right now is that, of course, the Greater Victoria area chiefs have approved the position for a full-time regional civilian coordinator. So at this stage of the game, we are working on the job description and figuring out where that position will be hosted. So working through kind of some challenges there, and then hopefully we can get it posted and see how much interest there is out in the community. I'm kind of getting a sense that there will be some really neat people who are interested in the job, so I'm excited to see what shakes out. As far as events that we've been involved in, there are a few that we go to every year. I can't remember if I mentioned Welcome Day, but Welcome Day is something that we always try and get to. It's hosted at Victor Brodeur, and it's sort of a symposium for newcomers. So there's all kinds of resources there available for them. We love to be there. It's a great opportunity to really be like just a presence for the early days that people are in this country. So, and it always draws a really great crowd. So we were at Welcome Day again this year. We were at Pride again this year. We were both in the parade and the Changemakers contingent, and we were also welcome to put up a booth in their expo area. So it's always a great event to be a part of. The energy is always fantastic. And again, it's nice to feel welcome, especially with a community where there is so much history and some extremely difficult history. So again, a great place to start making inroads and building bridges. And then a couple of other events. We always go to the Uptown Multicultural Festival, which again is always a super fun event. In terms of diversity, it's just like there's representation from all the corners of the world and all kinds of different people. And so again, it's always really fun to meet and connect with people there. And then this year, earlier in the year, we put on our DAC dance party, which I know I told you about, but we're going to be doing it again for February of 2024. So we've started planning for that. We've started a subcommittee and we'll be moving forward. One of the things that I've talked about here before is that I co-chair the DAC with my community partner, Brenda Friedman from the Friendship Center. One of mine and Brenda's goals was to kind of look around the DAC and see who's missing from the table. So we have recently onboarded the Vancouver Island Counseling Center for Immigrants and Refugees. So we have representation from their organization on the DAC. They serve, I think they said like 109 different communities. And so just great reach into the community, and just in terms of as well having kind of community partnerships between police and service agencies. They're a really good agency to partner with, and we've already been helping each other out. The Ukrainian Canadian Cultural Association has onboarded, and Greater Victoria Police Victim Services. So a few new members on board with the DAC. I presented at the Greater Victoria Police Victim Services AGM, so that was fun. And I think that's kind of where we're at. There are a few communities that we're still hoping to get on board. I was actually at a Yes Youth Empowerment Society event today, and Kissay knows that I want them on the DAC, so I'll keep working on them. And the Pride community, again, or the LGBTQ2S+ community, again, we don't have any representation and we need it. So those are kind of a couple of our priorities, and other than that, really our priority right now is getting our regional coordinator on board. So that's it. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Sean?
Yeah, thank you very much for the update. And for, hopefully when the posting is up, we'll probably
Happy to, yeah.
we'd love to share amongst our circle. Probably know. Happy to encourage them to connect with you. It's really good news that we have that. Coming.
Yes.
Yes, that it's a big passion, so we're looking forward to that work. So thank you much for doing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Chief Watson?
Yeah, just thanks, Staff Ames. I mean, obviously, we all know how this table has had a number of presentations from the DAC, and Staff Sergeant Ames and the whole DAC continues to do great work. And for those of you that aren't aware, Staff Ames has a full-time busy job on, and then her DAC responsibilities on the side. And I know she puts in a tremendous amount of extra effort and time on to support the work. So thank you to her, thank you to the DAC, and I think everyone's looking forward to the coordinator position coming forward soon.
For sure.
Not the least of all Staff Ames.
Any further questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate the updates.
No problem.
And when you've got that person on board, and bring them back.
Absolutely.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, we're going to move down, and I do want to acknowledge with respect and gratitude that we are within the traditional territories of the Wabangan people, Songhees, and Esquimalt First Nations, and we're incredibly privileged to be able to live, work, play, and conduct our meetings on their territory. And so I'm incredibly thankful for their generosity. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest with regard to items on this agenda? I see none, so I would ask for a motion to adopt the public agenda. Elizabeth and Paul, any discussion, any additions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion's carried. Adoption of the public minutes of September 19th. Please, a motion. Thank you, Michaela. Seconder is Sean. Any errors, omissions, or changes? None, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion is carried. Board co-chairs update. I just that I'm continuing to attend meetings of the UBCM committee on police reform, and those meetings are ongoing, fascinating discussions, very broad, inclusive of communities across the province, and many very interesting discussions, because we have representation from small communities with RCMP all the way up to large communities like Vancouver, with very large municipal police forces. Those meetings will continue into the new year, and a report will be generated out of that will be provided to the government.
I'll just add that I had an opportunity a few weeks ago to attend a global mayor summit on community safety and well-being with representatives from local governments in 70 different countries. And it was a really remarkable experience of learning and sharing information. And although it was too complex to go into at this point, I will try and write up a bit of a summary, which I can provide to the board, and perhaps those agreeable could be handed to the public record, just as a memo of information and contacts and places that you can find out their information. I'll just point to two things: that there is a real appetite around the world for a very thoughtful and blunt conversation about the definition of community safety and well-being and what that includes. And certainly policing is an important part of that, and that was part of the conversation. The conversation is broad and it's blunt and timely. So certainly we're not alone in the challenges that we face here in service. And I think on the one hand, that's great because it gives some comfort. And it's terrifying because the degree of the issues is large. But having said that, it's certainly a learning opportunity, as I say, and I'll try and share some of that.
Paul, question?
It's a question actually back to your report, Mayor Desjardins. It's regarding the resolutions passed at the recent Union of British Columbia Municipalities Convention. Is there any way of actually getting a quick overview, not today, but at least knowing what resolutions were passed specifically dealing with policing, public safety? I think it would be very helpful as a board member to understand, the politics behind this, where local government is, what resolutions were passed, and what the request was. So if I'm not through the chair, if that can be extrapolated, that would be very helpful. I would like to look at those.
I don't think that we could discuss the politics.
No, well, be a special meeting.
Certainly, we can bring the resolutions forward and have if the board has any comment or discussion. I think that's a good place to start.
Great,
Thank you for
thank you.
bringing that forward. Colette, I'll just kind of leave that with you just as a placeholder. All right, any further questions? Seeing none, we will move on. And we have the committee's update, and we will start with governance. Paul, do you have anything to add to your report that's within the agenda?
Well, in regards to governance, it should be noted that probably at the next board meeting, I'm hoping that there'll be a discussion about the governance committees looking at the whole issue of remuneration for board participation. That's being discussed now. It's very difficult to find, attract, get people to participate on a so-called volunteer board when they're working basically one or two times jobs. So we're looking at that. Chair, I should note that under the public agenda, there was two other issues that are actually on governance and not on HR. So I'd be happy to keep going if you would like. The next issue is what I would consider a housekeeping issue. There was effectively an error in our board manual dealing with participation of committees of other committee members, and there was some discussion of whether you had voice and vote, and we've come to an agreement, and I would certainly move a motion right now that says that the board policy be amended to indicate that at the discretion of the committee chairs, non-committee members may participate in the discussions of committees they are not members of but cannot vote.
Is there a seconder for that motion? Elizabeth? Okay.
So
Speak to it.
just basically, the reason why this was, again, this is a small issue, but several months ago, we were down several members of board members, and it was effectively all hands on deck. All members of the board were effectively on every committee, and it was basically one big committee. But now that we're almost at full complement, hopefully soon, by the City of Victoria's process of filling that spot, we now have 3 effective committees. Governance committee, an HR committee, and a finance committee. And what this says is really effectively those committee members are running those meetings. But if another member from another committee seeks permission from that chair or has some certain knowledge that they would be allowed to add comment to the board meeting. And this will clarify an error in our board manual, and it should be resolved if this passes.
Thank you. I just want to add to that as well, that the value of having the deep dive at the committee and then having it come to all of the board is that you have a little bit of a double look at things to make sure that if there's something else that was missed, it gets to come back again. So it's a fresh look from a higher level perspective for the board. Any further discussion? Elizabeth, did you wish to speak to it? Any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion's carried. We'll move down to the next item, which is again governance, which is the creation of the vice chair position.
So maybe what I'll do is I will move a motion right now, then I will, if it's seconded, I'd be happy to certainly fill in the blanks on it. I will move that the board implement a vice chair position as per the drafted terms of reference that's in the package.
Now, seconder, please. Sean, thank you.
So this issue in most, if not all, police boards in British Columbia, it's normal to have the chair of the board, the mayor of either the municipality or the township, and a vice chair. It's actually it's the common model. Given the uniqueness of the Victoria and Esquimalt Police Board, we have what's known as a lead and co-chair type of system, where the 2 mayors effectively are a team approach to dealing with governance and running board meetings and such. There have been times when, depending upon the topic, 1 or 2 of the mayors may have to recuse themselves, given the conversation at hand. And there is no current provision in our board policy or board manual to deal with who effectively would chair during that meeting. There is a line that says that the board would basically make a motion to appoint someone. After a lot of discussion at the committee level, there was agreement that in fact it would make more sense to actually create a vice chair position. Just at the same time, those discussions were going on. Several board members around this table and other board members across the province are participating in a new program put on through the Watson Governance Academy. This is a new training program for police board members in British Columbia. And it's trying to raise the bar in some sense of people's and board members' responsibility and knowledge and such. There was discussion, I just finished the course, and there was a lot of discussion about the role of the vice chair. To the point where the Watson's Governance Academy actually had quite a recommended sample of the terms and reference and duties of the vice chair. So the recommended job descriptions, if you want to use that analogy, is effectively based off the Watson Academy. It's been tailor-made to deal with the uniqueness of our 2 mayors and our co-chairs. But it is effectively the kind of the new model for vice chairs. And so that's the intent of the motion. If it's passed, there is a provision built into the policy that talks about how the selection process takes place and so on. So it's covered in the document.
Thank you. And the seconder, do you wish to speak to it?
I think I'll explain it very well. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? I have one, and that is, there is a process as to how to move forward. How does the governance committee see that next step occurring?
Well, the policy is effectively, if this is approved, there is a board members would self-identify to the board chairs that their interest, and then there's a process laid out where at a subsequent board meeting there would be an opportunity to give a brief overview or presentation on why a certain person may want to take the vice chair, and it would be a board decision.
Thank you very much. So should this pass, we could look forward to that at the next board meeting. All right, anything further, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion is carried. Anyone interested on the board, please make yourselves known to Mary Ann and I, and we'll move this process along and get this done for the end of the year. All right, we are down to 2024 conferences. I believe that was still governance. Was it?
Governance or HR can take that one, actually.
We don't have Tim. I can look to Charlotte if you want to touch that one, or if you want, you can get back to governance.
We'll throw it back to governance.
There you go, Paul. Sorry about that, but you're
No.
doing a great job.
Well, I'm trying to keep up here. This relates for the public viewing. This relates to conferences that police boards in British Columbia attend. That relate to governance, that relate to policing in British Columbia. Our board has had discussions about should we be participating in these boards, and also to which type of conferences. And we've had discussion about that. There is, without speaking on behalf of the board, we've had several members of our board in different roles participating in these committees, being very active in some of these conferences over the past year. So what we've identified, and we're being mindful of, that there are different types of these conferences. Some are local and some are out of town. The discussions that we've had, we're very mindful of the costs of traveling, in particular when conferences are out of town, and we're trying to figure out a process to figure out how do we ensure that we have representation at these important conferences, but being mindful of costs. And there is a process that's in the package that effectively is laying out kind of when these conferences are taking place. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is gauge some level of interest right now to figure out who would be willing to participate in these conferences, in the 2024 conferences. Once we get some idea of the numbers, we can then make sure that there's proper budgeting and so on. And of course, if and there are some conferences where the board may want to send more than one person. In some sense, I have heard that in some sense that many boards around the province, depending upon the conference, they will actually send their entire board. And I've heard that it's a good way of finding out networking and finding out different trends across British Columbia. So at the end of the day, this is a process to try to map out for the next year the conferences that we should potentially be thinking about participating in.
Would you like to put the motion on the floor?
I will, once I just, I will move that the board, Canvas board members during the public session of the October 2023 board meeting to receive expressions of interest for attending the 2024 training conferences, and that the board draft an eligibility requirement to ensure that the travel budget is not exceeded and the opportunities to attend are fairly administered.
Thank you. Is there a seconder to the motion? Elizabeth, thank you. Do you wish to speak to it?
Can I ask Paul a question? Do we typically exceed the travel budget year over year for, like, do we hit the wall on it?
It's been 3 years since anybody's traveled because of COVID, but I believe we came very close to before. That's why the budget didn't change previously.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any further discussion on this? All those in favor? Any opposed? I'm going to then go into the first part of that motion and look to anyone on the board who is interested in attending BCAPV, which are April 11th and 12th in Vancouver. This is just a show of hands right now so that we get started on some data. So we've got Michaela and Charla and Paul and I may want to go, Sean, Ollie, okay. So that, have you got all those?
Charlotte, Michaela, Sean, Paul, Holly, and Bart.
All right, and then the next one is Keiko, and this is in Calgary on May 29th and 30th. Who has an interest in attending those? Ron, Elizabeth, Michaela. All right, and CAPG is in Halifax next year, and that is August 8th to 11th. Who has an interest in attending that? Kayla?
I would be happy to participate online if in fact it's available during that.
All right. So Paul is interested. Anyone else? Elizabeth?
I would be interested in an online participation.
Okay, we'll delve into the details after. And Sean. Okay. All right, and Holly. All right, good. The next part then is I'm going to send this back to a committee. And the committee that it came from, and we'll find out where that was, to draft up the criteria so that we can move this forward. All right, thanks, everybody.
Yes, there's just one more conference on the next page that needs to be determined today because it's next month.
Oh, is this the summit?
Yes.
CAPG and CPA Summit, Pressures on Policing, a Shared Perspective, and this is November 21st. And so interest in attending that one.
I'd be interested, but is that not our November board meeting?
Yeah,
That's what it is. Then, no,
It's my birthday.
try to remember it.
And so is it our board meeting?
On the 21st, it is, and it's in Vancouver, so somebody would miss the board meeting.
Charlotte?
I was gonna note, I'm in Vancouver that day presenting at a conference. So potentially if I can look at the agenda, there might be an opportunity for me to jump between because I'll already be in Vancouver.
John?
I'd like to attend as well if I could, but I don't need an overnight stay, so I'm only not going over travel budget, so I'll go later today, like whatever the ferry time gets me. At 10 p.m. unfortunately, and then make sure to report.
Right. Given the interest in this, if we don't have quorum for our meeting, then so are we prepared to move our board meeting? I don't think so. So anyways, we have the two expressions of interest, but we'll have to be watchful of, you're not here anyways, given that you're
My
already.
presentation's at the exact same time as the board meeting.
I'm also interested, but I don't know that I missed it.
Okay, so Michaela is fine. All right, and frankly, we can't make that decision at this point around those, we have the interest. Okay. Everybody okay to move on? Did we get all the committee updates then?
Finance.
All right, Elizabeth, go for it.
The budget process is ongoing. We've been working hard trying to put the 2024 budget together. We've had initial consultations with both municipalities, initially with their senior staff, and then after that with each council. We have a second council meeting with each municipality coming up later this month. And then a final meeting with both councils in November. We've also been out talking to people in the community. I've talked to the Downtown Victoria Business Association and the Victoria Community Association Network, which was a great way to tap into all of the neighborhood associations all over the city in one fell swoop. Sean has also talked to a number of different groups out there. And we haven't finished with those kind of outreach to community organizations. As we can schedule it, we will continue to do it. The one thing I will say is that almost without exception, everyone we've talked to has identified either community policing or more visibility of police as being their number one priority for this budget. So that it's nice to get a consistent message from such a diverse set of individuals, but that's a very strong message back to us.
Any questions on the budget process? Right. You also have overtime report and monthly financial report. You want to refer to Steve?
I sure do. Sure. I can give you the 60-second version. So this is a monthly report. It comes to every board. This brings us up to the end of September. Overtime, slightly below budget at this time. We're 73% of the way through the year, 71% spent. We continue to see benefits from the new deployment model, which was a joint initiative of staff, union, and management. What we're seeing from that in the first 9 months is that overtime levels are back down to normal levels. So our sick leave, although WorkSafe has plateaued at a higher level, which is what we have been expecting. But despite this, the overtime is slightly below budget at this time. For the monthly financial report, we continue to be broadly in line with the board approved budget, but slightly above the budget that was approved by councils. Wages and benefits are within budget. Overtime is below budget. Most other items are either at or below budget, with the exception of retirements. We continue to see a high number of retirements. We'll probably see that for the next few years. Building and professional services are also over, and those were line items that were not fully approved by councils. And so those expenses are largely unavoidable expenses. So this time we're still slightly above budget. We will see the benefit load decrease for the final quarter. So I'll be keeping a close eye on our financial position and giving updates.
Questions for Steve or Elizabeth on either of those? Right. Seeing none, thank you both. We can now move down to board member engagement update, and this is our opportunity to share updates on our connections out into the communities and or attendance of specific policing events. So Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I actually wanted to share that both Elizabeth and I attended the launch of the Deputy Chief Watson here was a big part of it. The launch of the Greater Victoria Police Foundation, which was a couple of weeks back, and it was nice to see Elizabeth there and the Terrys as well, the mayors and the folks, etc. It was a good event, well attended, well supported. Again, special shout out to Deputy Chief Watson, who did a lot of legwork in getting this off the ground, and of course our prizes the board with many updates as a process. So I really appreciate that, and I know myself personally, it's just nice to see. Looking forward to seeing what kind of great programming will come out of it. That's what I mean. And the second thing was just generally about the community, just talking with respect to budget consultations. Again, thank you to Elizabeth for allowing partner of the board to allow or to offer, open up other groups of our community to weigh in and offer their sort of insight. I will share with you that there, for some of the groups, marginalized sector, other sector were identified, it's a safe space when they gave their feedback to us. They appreciated it very much, being part of the conversation, and they look forward to ongoing future opportunities. So that was part of the process. Again, thank you for that ability to do so.
Anyone else? Charlotte?
Not a big update, but I had a lovely coffee with Len earlier at a nice coffee shop in Esquimalt.
Great. And we as well had a meeting with the union representatives and the chief. And it was great to be introduced to our next union president. And so look forward to continuing those meetings. Anyone else? All right, let's move on then. BC Association of Police Boards Executive Update. Is that you, Michaela?
Yeah, that's me. We don't have anything specific to update on, but we are working on the start of an engagement process with boards, and we're starting to plan the early stages of planning the conference in the spring.
Any questions for Michaela? All right. Thank you very much. We'll look forward to what that shapes up to be. Is there a theme yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right, Chief Constable update. We have Deputy Chief Watson filling in.
I will, so the chief is duties of taking him out of town today, so I don't have too much in the way of an update for either the chief's update or for the EDI update, but what I will say is much like this is my last meeting, this is also the last meeting for Inspector Carrie Lee Jones, who is retiring and moving on to another opportunity. So just want to recognize her for the tremendous work and investment of a lot of personal and professional energy and making a real difference at Big PD. So thank you.
Both will be missed. Thank you both for your service. Carla.
I wanted to thank you both too, and it's really nice that you're both here on your last meeting, and both of you have been extremely helpful with my time on the board, answering questions, being kind and welcoming. So you will be missed, and thank you.
Maybe a round of applause. We move down and we have the 2024 Police Board meeting schedule. And we need a motion to approve that schedule. I don't know if anyone sees any challenges at this point. I know that Colette is so thorough with this. Things always come up.
Just a quick question, and I noticed that it consistently appears to follow the third Tuesday of the month, which is great, love consistency. Except for February, was there a reason why it fell to the fourth Tuesday?
Yes, the chief and the deputies are away at a BC Chiefs meeting. So you'd have no executive
Great
representation.
reason, just wanted to ask.
Anyone else? Questions? Colette, go ahead.
Just wondering if the board wants to decide for October. Normally, it's the joint board council meeting in October, and we usually forego having a regular board meeting. Do you still want to hold both of those dates? Maybe move the board meeting or move the joint board council meeting, or just hold the joint board council meeting in October?
I personally would hold both of those because more often than not, the joint board council meeting goes. So, Michaela?
I'm not necessarily suggesting it be changed, but I do want to point out that the third, which was the fourth this year, that the first day of school is really hard for parents to attend meetings, and we have more than one parent of young kids on the board right now. So it doesn't, I'll make it work, but I just wanted to flag that that's a bad meeting date for parents.
Is there the potential to go to the next week?
Yes, and it'll just make it really tight. Well, the chief won't be here for BCG's meeting.
You don't have to change it, just maintain it out.
If it helps, we could potentially move the meeting to 9:30 to
Yeah,
12:30.
that helps, then people can be part of the first day.
That's about the best.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Otherwise, motion to approve, please. All? Michaela? All those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion is carried. And we have the letter from the school district 61 regarding school liaison officers. So within this letter, there is an offer to meet. I'm trying to find the letter now.
Very end.
Yeah. I have paper unfortunately, so now I'm following your plan. One would think so. There it is, you're right. This, and it's addressed to the chairs. So I'd really like to get your feedback on, given, go ahead, Deputy Watson.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mayor. The chief has asked me to pass on to you that he certainly recommends accepting the invitation to meet and would certainly love to have both himself and Inspector Mike Brown invited to that meeting as well, if the board feels it appropriate.
Okay, that was where I was headed, so you took the shortcut. Elizabeth?
And as you know, Chair, the Esquimalt Council put that on the list of things that they wanted to see happening when I went and asked them about their budget priorities.
I don't know if this is the time or place to put this forward, but I'm curious if there might be an interest of our co-chairs or board to possibly even have an open house for parents. I have been approached by parents in SD 61 as a board member reaching out to me on social media platforms, and I'm not exactly sure my role or what to speak or how to do that. So I know there are people that do want to engage. So I fully support meeting with the school board, and I would appreciate if we had an opportunity to invite parents to speak, because I'm just not sure what exactly to do in that situation, and I know there's an interest.
I don't have a clue right now how. I think the first step is to have the meeting with the school district. So if I could get the motion and do not lose them. I think it's a great idea. I just don't know how to do it without having that meeting first. So we need a motion that the co-chairs and the chief and the inspector. Mike Brown. Set up the meeting. Yeah. Okay, Sean and Michaela, all those in favor? And any opposed? And one of the topics could be around, is there the opportunity for a public discussion, board and us at some point so that parents can share their thoughts. Good. We have come to the end of our agenda. I want to thank those that have attended online. Holly, don't go anywhere. We still have unfinished business